Joining me to discuss Barbara Smith, Adam Goodman, and Rachel Campos-Duffy. Barbara, let me start with you. You were clerk to Justice Samuel Alito, among other things. To get a glimpse into Neil Gorsuch, is it important to know who he talked about today? Some of the folks he clerked for, some of the people he looked up to. Will that give us a major hint to how he will act in his role as Supreme Court Justice?
Absolutely. I think it's important to note that he mentioned folks like Justice Kennedy, Justice White. In his initial, coming out speech at the White House, he talked about Justice Scalia, whose seat he would be taking if he were confirmed. I think it's also important to note that he said in his opening statement that it's his job as a judge to find consensus wherever he can, and that among the 2,700 cases he decided while he was on the Court of Appeals, 97% of them were unanimous. So the criticism that he's somehow outside of the mainstream is just farcical to me.
Well, also, Rachel, the idea that less than a decade ago, every Democrat possible to vote for him for the 10th Circuit Court found him to be pretty good for that, and they gave him the thumbs up. So you would wonder, really, realistically, what could have changed since then?
The hashtag resistance movement. Look, these hearings are tough for liberals. They're a reminder that Donald Trump won. They're a reminder that he's not just going to pick this judge. He's going to maybe have another, maybe even a third Supreme Court justice to pick. And so the really smart strategy for Democrat senators is to hold their fire on this one because of exactly what your guest just said. He's very mainstream. He's highly qualified. However, they're getting a lot of pressure from these liberal groups right now. And so they're under a lot of pressure to resist, to obstruct. And it's a bad strategy because all it does is make the Democrats look like they are out of the mainstream.
Yeah, Adam, I mean, on this one, it really, there's no arguing the pedigree, the resume, the work. It all speaks for itself. So the Democrats have pulled this obstructionist in every place they could, in fact, in places we didn't even think they could, to delegitimize President Trump the entire way. It's backfired for the most part, I think, and this one would sink him as well, but it feels like they're going to try it anyway.
Well, yeah, you can't fight everything, right, Charles?
Well, they might, but what do you think, Adam?
Okay, I think they're almost out of options here, but let me talk for a second about Judge Gorsuch. The greatest line out of his opening statement today, Charles, was it's time to lose our egos and open our minds. This is a common man's perspective to enforcing the nation's laws. It's clear, concise, and impartial. And the things he's getting attacked on are things like upholding the law and the Constitution or favoring the job creators in this country. I think this nomination will say a lot, not only about the Trump administration, but about what we expect in terms of the kind of class and character we want on the Supreme Court. And after 1 year and a month of waiting to fill the seat, it's time to fill that seat.
Hey, Rachel, I want to ask you also, and I'm not sure if it will be brought up, but there may be some we may hear about it. It may be alluded to, and that's the issue of being pro-life. Of course, Roe v. Wade. If President Trump has a chance to do up to 3 new justices, and that certainly tilts the balance in the Supreme Court. So this could be an issue that comes up in one form or another.
Sure, but the country is split on this. And by the way, it's moving more and more pro-life as technology gets better and better, and we're able to see inside the womb. So I don't think he's out of the mainstream with that either. And I think, look, 1 in 5 voters in the exit polls said that this was the #1 reason that they voted for Donald Trump. This is the most consequential gift this conservative justice that he can give to the people who put him in office. He's keeping his promise. He picked from a list put forward by very established conservative groups. If the Democrats obstruct here, I think that McConnell has no choice but to go nuclear because he is not going to let that Senate be run by the minority.
Quickly, I want to ask you, Barbara, very quickly, because we're running out of time, but judicial activism is a big topic these days. Do you feel Gorsuch is going to be loyal to the Constitution, or will he feel some loyalty to the man who will propel him into this dream job?
I take Judge Gorsuch at his word that he thinks it is an amazing honor and responsibility to follow the text of the Constitution and the law as it is written. And he said that repeatedly during this confirmation process, which is, frankly, I think that's the kind of judge we can all agree we all want on the Supreme Court, regardless of our own political beliefs.
Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement there. Thank you all very much.